Hello everyone, it's Natalie. Today we're going to make dumpling macarons. Aren't they adorable? It was highly requested to show how I make character macarons, and I thought, dumplings would be just so easy and cute to start off with. Character macarons definitely require patience, so bring some of that with you today. Here's a quick anatomy guide that I drew of a dumpling macaron. I do these every time I create a new character macaron. You can see here that it has 6 key features that altogether make it irresistibly cute. Now onto the recipe. We are doing a slightly different recipe than the last macaron video. Normally from my book we use the French meringue method, which is pouring sugar directly into egg whites, but for characters I prefer to use the Italian meringue method, which involves cooking a sugar syrup and pouring it into the egg whites. I chose this method because it produces a smoother shell and a softer, chewier bite. For me, it's definitely worth the extra steps. So here are all the ingredients and materials you'll need. You're going to need a couple more tools and materials than usual. A candy thermometer, a small saucepan, a coupler, extra piping bag, 2 size 3 piping tips, a black food coloring pen, and pink edible color dust. You can get these all on Amazon. Links in the description box below. I know, this sounds like a lot more stuff, but it's totally worth it. Especially for the end result of it being so cute. Also, with this recipe, I highly recommend that you use a stand mixer because pouring sugar syrup in and whipping egg whites at the same time is a bit difficult with a hand mixer, but still doable. Alright, let's get baking! First of all, have your almond flour and powdered sugar sifted into a bowl. Then let's weigh out our water and sugar for the sugar syrup. Pour the water first into a small saucepan, then the sugar so that the sugar is soaked evenly. Let's go over to the stovetop. Put your saucepan on the highest heat with your candy thermometer until it reaches 248 degrees Fahrenheit. This will take about 10 minutes on an induction stove like this, so start that first while you prep the other ingredients. Now here's a tip for you. Put 2 kitchen towels around the saucepan for easy cleanup. When the sugar syrup starts boiling rapidly, it'll spray all these hard sugar syrup droplets everywhere, and it's really annoying. After that, you can just throw it in the laundry. Now time to separate the whites into the bowl of your stand mixer and save the yolks for anything like creme brulee or pudding, etc. Since you need 45 grams of egg whites, it's not a whole number of eggs. I use another bowl to save the egg whites for the next step, and a restaurant soup container for the egg yolks. They're pretty versatile in storing things and heavy-duty plastic. If you put too much egg whites, a hack I like to use is to use the egg shell itself to scoop out any extra egg whites. Next, you'll need to add 44 grams of egg whites to the almond flour and powdered sugar mixture. Use that leftover egg white and then crack open another egg to add some more to it. You'll need to mix it with your spatula until it becomes a thick paste. Also add your salt and white food coloring here. You don't want to do this step too early because it will get dry and be hard to mix with the Italian meringue. After making the paste, start whipping your egg whites at medium speed just so they get frothy. And then go check on your sugar syrup on the stove. Don't forget about it. I have before and it becomes a big mess. If your syrup has reached 248 degrees, it's okay if it's slightly over. Take it off the heat and drizzle the syrup down the sides of the bowl. Turn up the mixer to medium-high, about number 8 or 9 on the KitchenAid, and then keep beating for 3.5 to 4 minutes until it becomes thick, shiny, and glossy with firm but slightly droopy peaks. Wow, I always get so amazed by how pretty, white, and fluffy it is. Now add all the Italian meringue to your almond powdered sugar paste, and then start folding the batter. Make sure to use the rubber spatula to scrape the bottom and sides of the bowl, flattening out some air in the meringue and incorporating the 2 parts together. Keep folding until it's about halfway ready, and reserve about 20 grams of batter in a cup or mug for the little dumpling line wrinkles that are gray. Only use a small dab of black gel food coloring because we don't want it to be too dark. Now let that little guy chill out on the side for later, and keep folding the main batter until it falls off the spatula in ribbons at a medium pace and reincorporates into itself. Now the batter is done! Time to pipe. Make sure your piping bag is fitted with a coupler and a number 12 tip. Open up your piping bag into a cup. I use the takeout restaurant cup and pour it all in. Now roll up the sides of the piping bag and twist the top so none comes out, and leave it upside down in the cup. Now get out another piping bag fitted with a small number 3 tip, and then get it ready for the gray batter. Start mixing the gray batter with a spoon and get rid of any extra black food coloring that you wouldn't want to make too gray. I might have added a little much, but it still worked. Keep mixing the gray batter until it falls in ribbons like the main batter. Then pour it into the piping bag. If you don't mix it enough, the lines will look lumpy, and we want smooth, clean lines. Then twist the top and push the batter all the way down to the tip and save it for later. Now it's time for piping! Get out your aluminum pan lined with a silicone mat and grab your white batter. To pipe, hold your dominant hand at the top and your non-dominant hand at the bottom. The top hand will be squeezing out the batter, while the other will be guiding and keeping the bag straight. Hold the piping bag not too high and not too low, but don't make a perfect circle. Make it a little bit wider on the sides to create that cute little chubby body. Then use your wrist to flick the batter to the side gently. When you're done with one pan, hit the bottom of the pan with your hand or the countertop to flatten out the macarons and get rid of any air bubbles. This is so important because if you don't, there will be hollow air pockets in your macarons, and that's like biting into air. Let these dry for 5 to 10 minutes while you work on your next pan. I know these are super not on the template, but hey, don't judge. Make sure that you save some of the batter for the little dumpling folds. Let these also dry for another 5 to 10 minutes, and I like to use a dehumidifier and a fan to let them dry faster, but air drying will work too. During this time, preheat your oven to 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Now your first tray should be slightly dry, so it's time for the next layer. Switch your number 12 round tip to a small number 3 round tip, and then pipe a small oval on top of the dumpling, starting the first fold that will stick out more. Make sure you leave one row without these, unless you'd like to match exactly. But I found that no one really looks at the back of the macaron, and if you don't have enough batter to finish the character, it's all bad. If you try to pipe the dumpling folds while it's still wet, it will sink into the first layer and won't give it that cool 3D effect. Now take your gray batter and pipe 3 small lines to make the little fold lines. Grab your white batter again and then pipe 2 ovals on the side of the first oval you made to finish off the dumpling folds. You don't need to hit the pan at this step because we don't want it to be flattened. Now let them dry for another 30 minutes to 1 hour. When it's dry, the batter should not stick to your finger, and that's how you know it's ready to go. Bake the macarons for 12 to 14 minutes depending on the strength of your oven. I baked mine for 13 minutes so that they come off the mat very cleanly. To prevent any browning, you can put an empty tray on the top rack to shield the macarons from any direct heat. I baked one tray at a time because the other tray wasn't dry yet. You want to make sure that you do not bake macarons when they are not dry, as they will crack or be porous. Ugh, I still get so excited looking in the oven and seeing their little feet rise up. While the macarons are baking, let's make this cookies and cream buttercream. I know, it doesn't really go with the theme of dumplings, but it was what my customer requested. So here are the ingredients. There's only 5 of them, so it's pretty simple. You'll need some room temperature butter, some powdered sugar, crushed Oreos, vanilla extract, and some almond milk, or any type of milk. It's super important that your butter is room temperature so that it creams up perfectly. Beat the butter for about 2 minutes until it gets light and fluffy. Whipping air into the butter is key to making a perfect buttercream, so that way it doesn't taste so much like butter. Now, time to add in your almond milk and your powdered sugar. Make sure you add the almond milk first, then the powdered sugar, so that way it absorbs all the liquid. Add in a dash of vanilla extract. I don't really measure this because I love my vanilla. Then beat it on low for a little bit so it incorporates slowly. Then increase the speed to high for another 2 minutes till it gets super white and fluffy. It may look curdled at first, which is so ugly, but just keep beating until it comes together again. When it's super white and fluffy, add in your crushed Oreos. I used a food processor to grind them up, and then keep beating another 2 minutes till it comes together. Ooh, and now it's done! Perfecto! This is one of my favorite buttercreams. It's not too sweet and has that delicious taste of Oreos. And now the macarons are finally done! Yay! Patience is a virtue. Aw, look at how cute they are and their little feet. Now let them cool for about 20 minutes until they are not hot to the touch. Keep the cute bear oven mitts. After they cool, time to find them partners. It's like we're being the matchmaker. So pop them off from the back of the mat and then find similar size shells to match them up with. It's filling time. Now get out your piping bag and use your hand to scoop the filling into the bag. Kind of looks like ice cream, doesn't it? Twist the top so none of the buttercream comes out. Using the same fashion as before, squeeze with your dominant hand and guide with your non-dominant hand. To pipe, grab one of the shell pairs in your hand and then pipe buttercream in a swirl motion to ensure that all sides of the macaron will have an even amount of filling. Once you're done with that, place the other shell on top and twist them together. Repeat until you're finished. If you have leftover filling, squeeze out the rest from the bag, and then I like to use these restaurant containers to store the rest of the buttercream. You can store this in the fridge for up to 2 weeks or up to 2 months in the freezer. Now here's the best part of making these dumplings, decorating them with cute faces. Now use your food coloring pen to draw a smile and 2 eyes. Then use the edible color dust to create the blush on the cheeks. Repeat for all the dumpling macarons until you have a dumpling macaron army. So cute, right? You can give them all sorts of expressions. Give them their own personality. It's up to you what you want to do. It's your creative freedom. I think my favorite expression is the winking one or the sleeping one, because that's me. The blush on the cheeks gives it that extra cute factor. Now our dumpling army is complete! Yay! You did it! Personally, I wouldn't eat them yet though. For them to have their maximum deliciousness, I highly recommend that you store them in the fridge overnight in an airtight container, and then eat them at room temperature. This will help the flavors meld together and also moisten the macaron shells a bit so they won't be crunchy when you bite into it. For the sake of posting these on the gram, you gotta have the aesthetics. You can use some chopsticks to really get into character, or use a steamer basket or Asian plates like this. My post got a lot of engagement when I used the steamer basket, so maybe you should try that out too. Oh my gosh, aren't they the cutest? This recipe makes about 24 completed macarons in total, so definitely give it a try and let me know how they turn out. So I also wanted to throw in a taste test for you. These macarons are slightly chewy but soft and not too sweet and has the yummy taste of Oreos. What's not to like? It's so good that I had to do my foodie dance. Well, peace out. Thank you so much. Please subscribe and like for more baking videos.